Greetings and God's peace be with you. My name is Kristofer and I'm one of the priests at St. Francis Parish. It is good to have a chance to be with you. It's a cold day as I record this message for you, and it brings to mind a memory from many years ago, actually in just about this very spot. I was out in the backyard, and this is the home that I grew up in as a child, at least for a portion of my childhood. And we were playing backyard football. Now, I wasn't a very good football player, and I was a pretty little kid at that time, but we were playing with some pretty big kids, some pretty bullyish kids, and one of them hit me hard, and I hit the ground even harder. I suffered a pretty serious injury, actually 3 separate injuries in my shoulder, and it was painful and scary and extremely frustrating. I was an aspiring athlete, and I loved to play lacrosse, and I had to wear this brace on my shoulder for a long time as I went through a healing and recovery process. I wasn't able to do so much that I wanted to do, and waiting was just hellish for this kid. I imagine you know something of the challenge of waiting in this time in your life, in this time in our life together. This season of Advent is very much about waiting, and waiting is one of the most difficult things we do as human beings. Maybe not the most, but it's up there on the list. As I ponder those experiences in my life, and I remember what that healing and recovery process was like, I remember what it was like to discover my limitations, and to discover a process of healing and a power greater than me that was working in and through my life. When I was finally able to get that brace off and able to start practicing and playing lacrosse again, I found something very interesting out, something fairly miraculous indeed. It turned out that whatever occurred in my offhand, because I am right-handed, whatever occurred on this side of my body, I had greater flexibility with that shoulder, and I had, with time, I had greater strength with it, and it turned out that I could shoot a lacrosse ball a whole lot faster with this hand than I could with my dominant hand. Now, I'm not a big sports guy. I'm not trying to overdo a sports metaphor here, but it seemed like an important lesson today as we think about this time that we are in. You know, we are so used to doing things the way that we've always done them. And when we find that we're not able to do things in that way that we're used to, life gets pretty frustrating, and it can be pretty excruciating at times. And I think in those times of challenge, God works in a powerful way in our lives to help us learn how to do things new, to learn to do a new thing, but to strengthen parts of ourselves that we didn't know we had, and to be able to use us in different ways. Now, I'm not trying to say that as a people we're being strengthened like I was as a kid in this, but it's an interesting analogy, an interesting point of comparison. In the struggles that we are going through collectively as a people, as a church, as individuals, as families, I know that God is doing something powerful in our lives, helping us to grow through this time. In this season of Advent, in this first week in Advent where we focus on hope, where is your hope? Where is your hope emerging in this time in your life? How is God active in what's occurring in and around and through you? The assigned reading for today is from the book of Acts, and it's in the first chapter. It's a story that you might remember. It's interesting to read this during Advent, but it's part of the cycle of lesser feasts and fasts. And the heading here is the Ascension of Jesus. It's chapter 1, verse 6, where we enter the story. For when they, the disciples, had come together, they asked Jesus, "Lord, is this the time when you will restore the kingdom to Israel?" Jesus replied, "It is not for you to know the times or periods that the Father has set by his own authority. But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem, in all Judea and Samaria, and to the ends of the earth." We will receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon us. In this time of waiting, in this time of hope and anticipation, Christ is coming. We are called to prepare the way, and that Spirit of God will fill us up in mighty and powerful ways, will restore us. Maybe not in the way that we imagined it would all work out, but God is working. There is no doubt about it. For me, as a parent struggling with the challenges of this most recent computer virus and the shutting down of things with school, for me as a parent pondering Christmas and what things might be like and what we can and can't do together, there are all sorts of things that challenge me today. Whatever relationships you have, whatever responsibilities you fill your day and your life, I know that there are challenges and pressures upon you. As children of God, seeking to follow and do what is our call in life, our vocation in ministry, whether that be as a parent, as a child, as a sibling, as a minister of the gospel, and we are all called to that ministry. God is bringing us what we need. If we have hope and we believe that with God all things are possible, perhaps we will be restored in an even more powerful way than we've ever experienced before. Thanks for listening, people of St. Francis and anyone else that connected with our stories of hope and good news in this time of Advent. I hope to see you sometime soon, and until then, may Christ's peace be with you.